Jai Sriman Narayan. Jai Sriman Narayan. Jai Sriman Narayan. I pay my obeisances to my spiritual master, Srimad Jagadguru Sudarshan Acharya Maharaj. I pay my obeisances to Lord Sri Ramanuj. I pay my obeisances to the Purva Acharyas. I pay my obeisances to the 12 Alvars. I pay my obeisances to Mother Lakshmi. And I pay my obeisances to Lord Sriman Narayan. I welcome all of you here at the Sri Narayan Dham physically. I welcome those that's watching this discourse locally, nationally, and internationally. And I welcome in advance those that's going to be watching this discourse when it is posted on YouTube and the various groups from around the world. This is the 8th day or 9th. This is the 9th day of the Sri Narayan Dham celebrations of the month of the Ramanujans. And we are using these days to comprehensively discuss Sanatan Dharma, the confusion that exists in those who are followers of Sanatan Dharma, and how to resolve and remove confusion with the absolute truth. So I want to start with myself. I grew up with my grandmother, and she had a shrine. She was a very powerful Durga devotee, and people used to visit this shrine for healing. I knew she was effective because I heard people discussing her in the huge queues huge queues of people that would come to visit her on these days. I was maybe 3 or 4 years old. But I could not find anything substantive as I grew up. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, high school, university, adulthood. I could not lay my hands on something that was substantive, that could root me into Sanatan Dharma or Hinduism. I just knew that many people worshipped many different types of gods. I felt disconnected in this understanding, and I decided to follow science, because science made more sense than the confusion I was immersed in. Science could give you answers, and that scanty information that I was getting in Sanatan Dharma was confusing me. Nobody could link me to direct information on Sanatan Dharma. The word Veda meant Himalayan mountains. The word Bhagavad Gita meant you had to be qualified to read it. It was a book that was wrapped up in red cloth and kept by our grandparents far, far away. Ramayana were for people in the temples, all dressed up in team colors. Remember Satish Bhai? Team colors. All the ladies will wear a particular color sari and a particular color blouse. And that gave them authority on the Ramayana. And if you went into any of these sessions, then there was no connect between you and the sessions. They would have people singing bhajans, they will have people discussing the Ramayana, and there was no connect. It was dry, there was no feeling to return. There was nothing tangible you could feel. You would just sing along to psych yourself up to be there. So these things, these feelings, and these experiences here in South Africa inspired me to become an atheist. And now I'm inspiring the world to become a theist. Jessica, what am I doing? To become a theist. So I understand the confusion in Sanatan Dharma. Unlike Islam or Christianity, we do not have a structured institution. We cannot find our basics anywhere. Neither can we find our substantive anywhere, because it's all over the place. My basic is your substantive, and your substantive is my basic. My God is not your God. My understanding is not your understanding. And confusion reigns. But if you go a little deeper, you will find that the Supreme Lord has a library of information simply waiting for you. Simply waiting for you. Sanatan Dharma has all that you need for anything and everything. But you have to look a little deeper, and you have to commit. You have to commit to learning. Sanatan Dharma is the constitution that is eternal. This comprehensive library of information is eternal. It was always there. Before creation, during creation, through creation, and after creation. This knowledge is always there. It is ever ready to connect to you. Ever ready to connect to you. So there are 540 to 545,000 authorized verses in which you can find all you need to find. And I found amongst these verses in the Srimad Bhagavatam a verse that I think is absolutely relevant in the month of the Ramanujans. And I want to read this verse to you, and I want to discuss this verse with you. So I just want to explain to you that there are 4 seasons in Sanatan Dharma: Satyug, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. Like there are 4 seasons: summer, autumn, winter, and spring. When you in summer, do you know what's going to happen in spring? Yes, that is how you want. And when you in spring, you'll know what's going to happen in winter, because you experience these seasons. So similarly, if you are living in Satyug, you'll know what's going to happen in the other 3 yugas. If you live in Treta Yuga, you're going to know what's going to happen in the other 3 yugas. Similarly in Dwapara Yuga and Kali Yuga. So information that comes through in Sanatan Dharma are from saints and sages, and 12 such authorized saints and sages or Mahajanas. One of them is Narad Muni. And Narad Muni is in a discussion, and I'm going to read a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Remember, these Puranas mean the ancient histories, events that took place millions, billions, trillions of years ago. And the Puranas discuss the past, the present, and the future all in one capsule. So whilst they're discussing the past, it could mean the present, and it could also mean the future. Alright? And these Puranas were compiled by Veda Vyas 5,000 years ago. So Canto 11, Chapter 5. Text 40. Chapter 5, Canto 11, Text 40. And this is not Narad Muni, and he states, "My dear king, the inhabitants of Sat Yuga and other ages eagerly desire to take birth in this age of Kali, since in this age there will be many devotees of the Supreme Lord Narayana. Full stop. These devotees will appear in various places, but will especially be numerous in South India. Full stop. O Master of Men, in the age of Kali, those persons who drink the waters of the holy rivers of Dravida Desa, such as the Tampra Parni, Kirt Malya, Pyasavini, Payasavini, I'm going to spell the first 2 that I read, Kirtamala, Krtamala, Tampra Parni, Tamraparni, comma, the extremely pious Kaveri, and the Pratisi Kaveri, Kaveri, and the Pratisi Mahanadi, Pratici, capital Mahanadi, comma, will almost all be pure-hearted devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Okay? So I do not know of these other rivers, but I had an opportunity to dip myself in the Kaveri. And the Kaveri runs the Kaveri surrounds Sri Rangam. So the Kaveri splits into and then joins together after Sri Rangam, and Sri Rangam is within on this island. And I had the opportunity in 2018 to live for 6 days alongside Sri Rangam, and I had the opportunity of chanting the Om Namo Narayana mantra at the Kaveri. Kaveri is huge, very, very huge, and I hope we had a Kaveri down here in Durban. Sand mining would have been a walk in the park. There's dunes and dunes of sand. You can just pick it up. So what I did when I was at the Kaveri, I brought some sand. But I can't remember. I think I gave it to Sean. I'm not too sure. Okay? So you can see the Puranas have correctly predicted that the greatest Vaishnavites will be born in South India, and I gave you discourses last year, and I'm giving discourses again on the same topic this year, that all the Alvars are from or took their birth in South India, including Lord Sri Ramanuj. Lord Sri Ramanuj, and the Kaveri river is connected to Lord Sri Ramanuj because he became the pontiff of Sri Rangam. Alright? And for those of you who do not know, Lord Sri Ramanuj's body is still preserved at Sri Rangam, and his body is approximately 1004 years. Okay? So if I could get hold of this information in my teens, if I knew Sanatan Dharma was structured, it categorized the Supreme Lord and the many gods, that it was absolute, that it was perfect, and that there is nothing other than Sanatan Dharma in this universe, then it would have not been necessary for me to become an atheist. Lack of information made me an atheist, and now a library of information has made me a theist. And I'm using this library of information, and I'm trying to make sure that you do not go into the dark hole that I went to. And if you are in the dark hole that I went to, then I'm giving you information on how to come out of it. On how to come out of it. So information is adequate. There is no lack of information. Information translates to knowledge, and knowledge translates to release. And Lord Sri Ramanuj, I say this in every satsang in this month, spent his entire life, but more importantly, 60 full years in a row, synthesizing 545 verses of the Brahma Sutras, so that if you are born in Sanatan Dharma, none of the false philosophies can make you go astray. None of the false philosophies can make you go astray. 60 years is a long time, Satish Bhai. Your whole life plus 4 years. My whole life plus 2 years. Just making sure that he explains the Vedas in such a manner it encompasses all the injunctions. And something can only be absolute if it encompasses all the injunctions. There were many saints before him that took one aspect of the Vedas and refuted the rest. And by doing that, they tortured the Vedas and removed its purity and absoluteness. And Lord Sri Ramanuj, like I always say at the Sri Narayan Dham, 1 + 1 must equal to 2. And he did the same thing with all of the Vedas in such a manner that no verse in the Vedas was discarded by him. He explained the context and relevance of every verse. The context and relevance of every verse. Which means he swam in the ocean of the Vedas. You can only explain the entire Vedas if you swim through the entire ocean of the Vedas. If you just swam in Mauritius, then you only know that part of the Vedas. And it is known in Sanatan Dharma, and this is the absolute beauty in Sanatan Dharma. Vaishnavite saints and sages will twist and turn the Vedas out of context. They will follow Vaishnavism fully, but their followers will follow twisted and tainted versions of the Vedas. This inspires debate, does it not? This gives life to the Vedas and inspires debate. So when these saints and sages misinterpret the Vedas, take the Vedas out of context, other saints and sages come in and bring the Vedas, align it back into context. And this is the uniqueness of Sanatan Dharma since time immemorial. So the Vedas, because it is eternal, it cannot remain twisted for a long time. Clarity soon dawns. And at the Sri Narayan Dham, following in the footsteps of our Adi Guru, Lord Sri Ramanuj, and using his perfect synthesis. Using his perfect synthesis, which he got from all the previous acharyas I mentioned yesterday. Lord Sri Ramanuj did not give his own opinion, neither his own commentary on any aspects of the Vedas. All he did is what I am doing today. He gave you the Vedas in all its simplicity by following the previous acharyas. And that is why the Sri Sampradaya is the principal Sampradaya in Sanatan Dharma. The other three Sampradayas teach you, have specialized in different aspects of Sanatan Dharma, but the Sri Sampradaya consists of all the aspects of Sanatan Dharma. When you go to court and you want to win a case, that case must be found in the law books. The law books will be a point of reference for that case. No case can be found, can be fought in court or won in court if there is no law, which is the parameters of which a particular case must find itself. And similarly, no matter how big a guru's followers are and how mighty a guru might find himself to be, if he is not cent% within the parameters of Sanatan Dharma, particularly the Sri Sampradaya, then the followers are wasting their time. Like every year, well, that was before COVID, in the beginning of the year, hundreds of colleges spring up. You'll see adverts all over. Computer degree, this degree, and that degree. And by March, April, if you're watching the news, you'll see all these colleges getting closed down and the owners being charged for fraud. Yes or no? Why? Because they are not affiliated to the Department of Education. Similarly, the principal department of education in Sanatan Dharma is the Sri Sampradaya. Then there is the Brahma Sampradaya. Then there is the Kumara Sampradaya. And then there is the Rudra Sampradayas. If an institution is not affiliated, if a guru does not come from these four Sampradayas, then the guru and his followers are not connected to the Supreme Lord, Lord Sriman Narayan. And there is only one Supreme Lord. How you know that? How do you know that? That there is only one Supreme Lord, Amita?
In the Vedas, I would say.
No, through experience. Tana? Amita said the same thing. Through experience. Sita? No, I'm saying how through your experience you know that there can only be one Lord. That is why. With all the miseries we go in life, if there were two gods, imagine the hardship we would have been when they two fighting who's more superior. What do you think will happen to the balance of this universe? Would it have not killed over a long time ago? So there is only one Supreme Lord. The Vedas has proven that Lord to be Lord Sriman Narayan, and Lord Sri Ramanuj has produced all the evidence to show that Lord Sriman Narayan is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Jai Sriman Narayan.